In a small town nestled between shadowy woods and rolling hills, whispers of the occult had long painted a dark history. It was said that during the 1980s, a group of teenagers searching for meaning in their mundane lives had stumbled upon an ancient ritual, a desperate attempt to connect with something beyond the veil. The town, with its aged buildings and creeping fog, held its breath as these young souls danced dangerously close to a darkness they didn't fully understand. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue that slowly faded to indigo, the group gathered in an abandoned barn at the edge of town, a place where the air felt thick with secrets. The barn creaked eerily, its wooden beams groaning as if warning the intruders of the spirits that lingered. The group, consisting of 5 friends, Jess, Mike, Sarah, Tom, and Lily, had heard the stories of the cursed rituals and the spirits that could be summoned. Each was searching for a thrill, a break from their mundane lives, oblivious to the shadows lurking in the corners of their minds. As they set up their makeshift altar, the atmosphere grew tense, charged with an anticipation that sent shivers down their spines. The flickering candlelight cast long, wavering shadows that danced upon the walls, and the air grew cooler, almost electric. They began to recite the incantations they had found in a tattered book, each word sinking into the silence around them, heavy with significance. The words rolled off their tongues like a forgotten melody, echoing through the barn and wrapping around them like a shroud. As they delved deeper into the ritual, the temperature plummeted, and a thick fog crept in through the cracks in the barn, enveloping them in a cold embrace. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the barn, causing them to jump, hearts racing. The sound seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, a jarring reminder of the darkness they had invoked. Sarah, trying to lighten the mood, laughed, but the sound felt hollow, swallowed by the oppressive atmosphere. As they continued, each friend began to feel a growing sense of dread. Tom swore he saw a shadow darting across the far wall, a fleeting glimpse of something not quite human. Mike dismissed it, but Jess felt something shift in the air, a palpable tension that wrapped around them like a vice. After what felt like hours, they finally finished the incantation. Silence descended upon the barn, thick and suffocating. But as they stood there waiting for a sign, nothing happened. Some relief washed over them, but it was short-lived. That night, they each went home, but the unsettling feeling lingered. Sarah was the first to experience the effects of the curse. The next day, she found herself unable to shake a sense of foreboding. Shadows seemed to move at the corners of her vision, and she swore she heard whispers calling her name, soft yet insistent. Mike, too, felt the change. He began to have vivid nightmares, each one more disturbing than the last. In one, he was trapped in the barn, surrounded by shadowy figures, their faces obscured yet hauntingly familiar. He woke up screaming, drenched in sweat, the echoes of their incantation ringing in his ears. As days turned into weeks, the group's lives spiraled into chaos. Tom was involved in a serious car accident that left him shaken but unhurt, yet he claimed he felt a presence in the vehicle with him, whispering dark thoughts. Lily began to isolate herself, avoiding her friends and becoming obsessed with a strange book she found in the library about local legends and curses. The tension within the group grew palpable, each member retreating into their own fears. They decided to reconvene at the barn, desperate to confront whatever had been unleashed. As they gathered, the barn seemed more menacing than before. The atmosphere was thick with an unshakable dread, and the shadows danced with a life of their own. They lit candles, casting flickering light against the oppressive shadows, and began to discuss their experiences. It was then that they noticed something strange. There were scratches on the wooden beams, deep gouges that hadn't been there before, as if something had tried to claw its way out. As they examined the marks, a chilling realization washed over them. A sense of panic set in, and they decided to perform a counter-ritual to banish the curse. They pored over the old book, searching for a way to undo the damage, but the words seemed to blur and shift on the page, mocking their efforts. In a moment of desperation, Jess suggested they leave the barn and never return. As they stepped outside, the air felt charged, electric with a force that seemed to push against them. Just as they thought they were safe, a loud crash echoed from within the barn, and they turned to see flames licking at the rafters, consuming the structure in a fiery embrace. Before the horrifying conclusion to this story, I want to thank you for being a part of our horror community. If you're enjoying listening, make sure and hit the subscribe button so together we can continue to explore the unknown. They fled, hearts pounding, and when they reached the safety of the streetlights, they looked back at the inferno. The barn burned until nothing remained but ash, and with it, they believed, the curse would be extinguished. But as the weeks turned into months, the darkness lingered. Each of the friends experienced inexplicable tragedies, lost jobs, relationships falling apart, and a pervasive sense of doom that hung over them like a cloud. In the end, they drifted apart, consumed by their own fears and haunted by the memories of that fateful night. The curse had woven itself into the fabric of their lives, a reminder that some doors once opened can never truly be closed. Years later, whispers of the group's story echoed through the town, a cautionary tale for those who dared to flirt with the unknown. The barn, now reduced to ashes, became a local legend, the site of a dark ritual that had unleashed a curse upon its participants. Envision the stories being told around campfires, the flickering flames illuminating wide eyes, each storyteller adding their own layer of fear. As you ponder the tale, consider this: anyone can be cursed. All it takes is a moment of curiosity, a whisper of temptation, or an insatiable desire to know what lies beyond the veil. The darkness is always there, waiting, watching, and ready to seize those who dare to disturb it. So, as you lay in the quiet of night, remember, the curse may not be a distant fairy tale. It could be lurking just outside your door, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.